What's happening today is an example of what we call a rug pull, especially in the semiconductor sector. So what we have over here is the chart of AMD, and I want to show you how did my analysis and how I entered my short prior to this rug pull. So I had first looked at Intel about a month ago, where I was trying to set up a short. I was a bit too early on that trade, to be honest. But after that, I looked at AMD, and which topped out a little later, and it was giving the same setup, same indication. So I went for it. All right. So what you see here is the indicator I'm looking at is an extension from the 200-day SMA, which is the blue line over here, and how far above the 200-day SMA is the price, and that's what you can see down here, right? So the red bars are your signal to take action, which I have set at 100%. So basically, that means the price is 100% from the 200-day SMA. So if it's 250, for example, then 100% would mean 500. So double, right? Which is where it roughly was yesterday. So that's the indicator, one of the indicators. And when you start to get readings of roughly 100%, like the red bars here, just understand that those are high alert warnings. That means the rally is going to blow off top, and the rally is going to come to an end very soon. 100% move from the 200-day SMA is a very big deal, and you don't see these type of signals every now and then. This is a once in a year, right? I think the last time was 2018, and prior to that, maybe it was the dot-com bubble, right? So if I just quickly go to 2018, so there you go. This is AMD in 2018, and you started to get these signals, and a few days later, the market topped out at roughly 120% from the 200-day SMA. And what followed was about a 50% drop, right? So again, I'm expecting something similar. I'm expecting at least a 25% sell off. Again, you can see we started to get these warning signs. And a few days later, I think the market topped out at about 120% from the 200-day SMA. And today is an example of a rug pull. You can just see how quickly things reverse, right? Once everyone is trapped, you saw a few days of basing, everyone got trapped, boom. Uh, Now, another way I want to emphasize this and how I entered uh, my short entry was on this day, right? Because I saw signs of a liquidity sweep, which is basically the idea that once a base is created, so you saw a few days of basing, and then that base was broken out, that's where a supply zone was created, right? All the that's how you stop out all the shorts over there, and then you take down the market, right? That's just how the big institutions operate. So coming back to the other indicator I was looking at was obviously the RSI telling me it's overbought, but that doesn't mean much. Specifically, I was looking at the Bollinger Bands, and you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks outside the weekly Bollinger Bands, which is a very, very big deal, right? Like having 1 or 2 weeks outside is a big deal, let alone seven. And that was a sign that this is coming to an end. So, for example, if I look at Intel over here, uh, or let me just show it to you here, right? So Intel, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks outside the Bollinger Bands. It topped out, and the sell-off has begun. So it topped out a couple weeks before AMD. So I had shorted Intel. I've squared off my shorts in Intel, even though I think it's going lower, just because I was in a deep drawdown due to my premature entry in it. I'm out of Intel now today, but I'm still holding on to my AMD shorts. So coming back to yes, so coming back to you can see we had something insane happen with Intel. The RSI peaked at 90, which is crazy, right? Getting an RSI reading of 90 is crazy. You had 7 weeks outside the Bollinger Bands, and the reversal began. So same thing with AMD, right? The RSI peaked at around 85. It pushed a little higher on divergence, right? These are just classical technical analysis signs, right? So, yeah, so basically you saw this divergence over here. Um, yeah, so basically that's when I started to see a seventh week outside the Bollinger Bands, that was my sign to take a short. And now what we're getting is a nice weekly reversal candle, a gap down, a long wick higher, right? And the price is now falling. This itself is a reversal sign. So it would be actually valid to take a short right now. And but then your if you short it today, then your stop loss will have to be really wide and you got to be expecting a long deep sell off, right? Like if you're betting on a multi-month sell-off or something like that, then you would use this week as your reversal sign. Right? I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to hold a short for a few months. I'm trying to be out quickly, right? So coming back to what I was saying, if we get a nice 25% sell-off down to the 400 level, maybe a gap fill down there where you'll have the 50-day SMA. Here you go. This is the 50-day SMA, right? So around 400, maybe 390s. Let's see where I get out, but that's my plan to get out at that point, right? So that would be a nice 25% drop. I'll take my quick profits. And of course, long term, I do think we are going to get a very long bear market for this, but I'm not willing to play that. I mean, I don't really care for that. I don't want to hold a short for months and months, going into next year or something like that. I'd rather do other things. So that's my setup. All right, so that's my setup. It's starting to go my way, and hopefully, we get a further sell off and I can book my profits. Thank you.